Howdy, y'all. Caleb here. This past weekend, me and my son, we got to play in the Warhammer US Open here in Dallas, Texas. Unfortunately, we weren't able to play in the singles tournament, but we were able to make it out there on the Friday for the doubles tournament. So, in preparation, I had asked him, do you want to take a serious, competitive list, or do you want to have some fun? And he decided on having some fun. So, he built this display board, this Old West town display board, and we took all Cavalry, and he printed out little cowboy hats for all of our guys to wear. So we had a pretty fun list here. You can see I had 12 Aggradons. Unfortunately, I couldn't fit in the Aggradon hero, so I had to take just an Oldblood on foot, so I could bring in Aggradons and still get Beastmaster in the list. But not bad. 12 Aggradons, a hero with Beastmaster, and that fits in about 1,000 points. He took a unit of 4 concussors, a unit of 4 desolators, and then a Dracoth hero that has Quicksilver Draught, so that he can make one of those units fight first, even if they get charged. So pretty fun little list there. All Cavalry. We're going hard. It's all charge all day. You can see our little cowboy hats there. Unfortunately, the cowboy hats we found out wouldn't fit on a Stormcast head, and so they got on the mount there. And of course, we dressed up as cowboys for this tournament. Having some fun. All right, our first game, we are playing against Randall and Jeff on the Vice. Jeff is playing Slaves to Darkness. He's got 2 units of 3 Vanguard each, and then the Vanguard hero that buffs him up. And Randall is playing Cities of Sigmar with the Dino Rider Elf Cavalry. They're actually really good. They're so super points effective. It's a 30 wound block at a 3-up save, and I think he can buff them up with +1 to save and give them a 5-up ward. Just a crazy anvil, and on the charge they can actually do quite a bit of damage. So, very good unit. He's got some city stuff here. These guys right here that do some shenanigans with objective grabbing control stuff, and then some steel helms back here. So on the Vice, not a great battle plan for Cavalry. This is one where you want to have some really tough stuff, but we won the priority on dropping first, and so we put our units kind of back in the corner, played it very cagey. We're going to make them go first, and then hopefully set up for a good charge and a double turn. So you see my hero here is going to buff up these Aggradons. I'm screening his terrain piece because I didn't want Jeff has a way to ambush in some Vanguard. I didn't want him to ambush in those Vanguard and get an easy charge on the terrain piece and get into Axton's Dracoth. So these Aggradons are screening over here. On their turn, they basically just kind of move up, take the objectives, move these guys up a little bit. Actually, this objective isn't here yet. Comes in turn 2. So just moves up a little bit and doesn't really give us a good charge target in our turn, which is to be expected. You can kind of see on our turn, we do the battle plan, take the flanks with my 2 Aggradons, and he drops in his concussors here. Had a nice opening here. And he's going to try to hit those Vanguard with concussors if he can make a 9-inch charge. If not, I feel confident that we're set up pretty well if we can get the double turn. He does not get any of the charges, unfortunately, and so we are stuck with those guys out in the open. I think this game came down to who won the priority into 2, because if he gets it, he's going to be able to shove those Vanguard over into those concussors, and then send the Dragon Riders down here to my Aggradons. If we get it, we're doing the exact same thing. Aggradons coming up here into these Riders. My Aggradons here going to crush middle. His concussors are going Vanguard there. So if we get it, I feel fairly confident that we can win the game. If we don't, then I feel fairly confident we're going to lose this game. And so sometimes when you're playing a cavalry heavy list, that's how it goes. Unfortunately, they do get the priority, and they shove those Dragon Riders here and absolutely obliterate the Aggradons. I redeployed, but it wasn't enough. They took them out. These Vanguard and Abraxia hit the Concussors, and the Concussors actually hang on. They activated the fight first. They were able to kill off some Vanguard, and they survived that fight. The Steel Helms came over here as well. And the Concussors held on. I think he still had like 2 Concussors left at the end of that, which I was really impressed with. On our turn, I send the Aggradons up there to clear that objective, and they do well there. And these Dragon Riders are like blocked up here. He sends these Desolators over to that side. Unfortunately, he fails that charge there. I didn't get the charge I needed with these Aggradons to get a battle tactic we were going for, so we failed a battle tactic there too. But we were able to clear up quite a bit of stuff. And it came down to, again, like if we can get the priority roll, these Desolators will clean up that block of Dragon Riders, and my Aggradons, which had finished up here, can sweep in. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, and just kept falling behind on battle tactics and the objective game. And his Dragon Riders were able to take off the Desolators, and at that point, we didn't... I think he had tied up my Aggradons with the ambushing unit of Vanguard, I think is what happened, and was able to kill off most of them. So at that point, it was a good game and a win for Jeff and Randall. Good game. And sometimes, you gotta bet it all on that double turn, and sometimes it fails you, and you lose. That's how it goes. Hey, it's a fun list, all cavalry. That's what we're here for. Game 2, we're playing Starstrike, and we're playing against Goat and Joseph. Joseph is playing Mega Gargants. You can see his 2 Megas lined up here and here. And then Goat is playing Stormcast with a Drakesworn Templar with Quicksilver Draft, 2 units of Concussors, and then a Chariot over here. So a pretty hefty list there, especially for Starstrike. They won the priority on who got to go first, and I was assuming they were just going to take it and just get on top of the objective and just never let it go. But they gave it to us. I don't think they wanted to be charged by all our cavalry and like lose a Mega Gargant or 2 in the first turn. I'm not sure I could do that much damage, but we could put some pretty big hurt on them if they just went and stood on the objective. So they gave it to us, and the objective fell right here in the middle, which was pretty good, I felt like. And I had picked the asterism for companion attacks. I did that the whole tournament just because I have so many companion models. So my Aggradons are +2 to move, but that's it. And so I've got to clear 18 inches to get to that Mega Gargant. And so they're moving 12 at the moment, and I got to make a 6-inch charge. And so he doesn't redeploy him, which I thought maybe he would redeploy him. I think we put up some other... we pushed stuff so far forward. They were kind of saving their commands for on their turn when they were going to use a lot of command points. So... these Aggradons push towards that Mega Gargant. And everything else, my strategy was here to sacrifice this unit of Aggradons. And I don't know if this is a great plan or not. Here we go. We can see how it kind of lined up. But I wanted to keep them off this objective as long as possible. So I auto-ran this unit of Aggradons just to get onto the other side of the objective, so that hopefully I can hold them off for as long as possible. I know this Mega Gargant's coming here, Concussors are coming here, Dragon's coming here, but if I can position it in a way to where it at least keeps him off that objective for 1 turn, because that Mega Gargant touches it, it's his, and we're not getting that back until we kill him. So I'm trying to screen there. He moves up his hero and Concussors to hold the back line and score a battle tactic, which was seize the center. And I also had to make sure that a counter charge from the dragon wouldn't make us lose our battle tactics. So I can't just barely cover that objective because he'll just counter charge. Over here, you can see my Aggradons. I was able to tie up that that chariot, which I don't want that chariot charging me because it'll do a bunch of mortal wounds on charge and pile through. And then I'm able to get into that Mega Gargant. And the Aggradons, actually did surprisingly well. So had all out attack on him, companion hits or critting, and well, that's all the buffs they had. And they took him down to, I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 wounds left. So he failed a lot of saves. I got a lot through and did some mortal wounds on the Sunclaw pile through stuff. So overall, fantastic round from the Aggradons on the left. And then it's a game of hold on to that middle as long as possible. I'm able to wear that Mega Gargant in the top left down. Chariot has to retreat on his turn. Comes back in, but I'm able to eventually kill off that Chariot. And we're keeping these Desolators here kind of in reserve to answer whatever comes their way. So I can either go into the Dragon or the Mega Gargant on the next turn. On their turn, they're bringing everything in, but you can see my strategy kind of worked a little bit. We're able to keep them off the objective. The Dragon can't quite charge through that side. Didn't quite get a big enough charge. These concussors are coming in. Mega Gargant got a little scary. He made a decent charge, but not all the way onto the objective. So we counter-charged with the concussors. Not a bad strategy. When you do that, they have a chance to fight first. Unfortunately, they failed that. They have a chance to shut off his commands. Unfortunately, they failed that. But what they did do is they kept him to where that Mega Gargant cannot pile on the objective. And it kept them from scoring that objective. I think it was for this turn and the next one, I think. So they did wipe that unit of Aggradons in this turn, which was kind of scary. That Drakesworn Templar just nailed it and did a ton of damage. I think I had like maybe one Aggradon left, which was enough to hold up the concussors, I think. So, but we're able to just start chipping down this Mega Gargant with these concussors. The Mega Gargant, I think, went into the Aggradons too. Maybe, I can't remember. But eventually, I send in the other Aggradons to help out here with this Dragon, and then these Desolators were able to go in on that Dragon too. And it was a fight over that middle, but somehow we ended up winning that one. We killed off the Dragon in one turn, which I thought was pretty amazing. I didn't think we would kill that thing off. And then was able to concentrate our fire on the Mega Gargants and the last Mega Gargant and kill it down. So once they had killed off some of our stuff in the middle, it didn't feel very good. It didn't feel like the game was going our way. But once we lifted that Storm Drake and then was able to concentrate on the Mega Gargant, things just went our way. And we were able to grab their objective when it fell down. We were able to grab our objective when it fell and kept the game alive and ended up getting the win. So it turned out better than I expected. Aggradons did amazingly well on this game. Had rage up like the whole time. It was just able to constantly get into stuff and kept its rage at rage 3, which really helped bring down the Storm Drake and then also the other Mega Gargant later on. So awesome game. A lot of fun. Always fun to play Joseph and Goat. All right, game 3. We're playing Scorched Earth. So don't feel real great about this one with how many units we have. We don't have a ton of units. We stayed. Here's our deployment. We won priority, so we're going to make them go first. So I don't line up as aggressive as I could. I could be a little bit closer with these units. In retrospect, I think I should have started even further back. But I assumed they would think we're going first and they were going to go first and play their Sentinels a little bit more aggressively, but they didn't. So, we're playing Evan and Hunter. Evan is playing Gitz. He's got some Wolf Riders here, some here. He's got a Doom Diver, a Chariot, and some more Wolf Riders. So really just kind of playing the board type of stuff, doing a little bit of shooting. Hunter has 20 Sentinels right there, and then 10 of the Dawn Riders right there. So those are his two kind of big damaging pieces. So my big threat is those Dawn Riders. Those are the ones I want to get into as soon as possible because I don't want them to charge me, and I don't have any screens. So that's the unit I want to get into. Sentinels are going to be a problem if they're going to be harassing us and shooting us the whole time. But if I can pile into them with Sunclaw, that's what I'm hoping to do at some point. That way I can tie them up even if I'm not necessarily in combat with them off the charge. So I'm hoping to Sunclaw pile into them at some point. So our deployment, we line up off one objective, give them the turn, so we can be down by, 1 or 2 points, whatever it is, on this one, and get underdog going into our turn. They move up a little bit to take the flanks, and this unit over here moves that way to take the flanks. They talked about it a little bit. They decided not to be super aggro with the Dawn Riders, because I think they were just worried I was just going to come kill them here, and then that would be their hammer is gone. And so they decided against being aggro with the Dawn Riders and just kind of moved their screens up. Sentinels, because they had deployed them so far back, I was able to, they kind of moved up in range of these Aggradons, and I was able to hit a pretty good redeploy and actually get them back out of range. I think I only needed like a 2 or 3 on the redeploy, and I ended up getting like a 5 or something. And so I was able to get the redeploy out of range of any of their shooting. So their shooting essentially did nothing turn 1, which was pretty awesome, because you don't want to get hit by that Doom Diver. Definitely don't want Sentinels chipping you away all game. So on our turn, that sets us up for some pretty good charges. We move all the Aggradons up to here. Because I moved these Aggradons back, they were going to have to make a pretty long charge. And then he moves his Concussors and Hero. We're just going hard towards that middle. We got to tie up those Sentinels in the shooting before they can have a chance to wear us down. His Desolators are over here in this back corner, and they're moving up to engage those Wolf Riders. Fortunately for us, we make all the charges. My long Aggradon, the Aggradons that were in the middle, I think I rolled like a 12 on them. I think I only needed a 9. That was the one I was most worried about, but they made it in. Concussors made it in. This may be after the end of that turn. He had redeployed these Wolf Riders back to try to make my charge harder, but I still made the charge, and in doing so, I was able to get into, on the pylon, I was able to get into the Dawn Riders and tie them up. So that was big, because I feel like I can win that fight as long as they're not charging and I've got my rage going. I can win that fight versus the Dawn Riders, and I end up doing that. Over on this right side, because we combo charged all this stuff, he's able to clear off the screen, or most of the screen, with his Concussors, and I'm able to get my Aggradons into those Sentinels. And so after our first turn, I've already tied up the Dawn Riders, and we've tied up their Sentinels. So just a brutal first turn. We didn't kill them all off, but we're doing enough damage and tying them up and getting them stuck in their zone that it's at that point it's going to be game over. On their turn, they're trying to, I think they got the next priority into 2, and they try to work their way out of it. They retreat some Sentinels, but when they retreat their Sentinels, I'm able to counter charge with my Aggradons. And so now my Aggradons get them tied back up again, keep my rage going, and their Sentinels are done for. So we clear the Sentinels. We still have that Doom Diver tied up. Their Dawn Riders eventually go away, and they're left with essentially no threats. And at that point, we're able to shake hands and call it a good game. And that was after their turn in turn 2, so it was over pretty fast. Making all your charges in a heavy cavalry list is a recipe for success. So it was a fun game. I enjoyed playing them, but it was over pretty quickly after we had made all those charges. So overall, a lot of fun. There's Axton holding a trophy. We got best army theme. We came in 4th place, went 2-1, had an absolute blast. Couldn't ask for 3 better games from 6 great opponents. So had a blast. A lot of fun playing doubles, and would definitely do it again. So all cavalry, had a lot of fun. Make those charges, win games. All right, guys. See y'all later.